Hello, everybody. Long time no see. I've been a little MIA just mainly because of the weather. I don't know about you guys, but it's really cold where I am. And so it kind of has turned me into a little bit of a hermit. I've still been doing some cooking, but I haven't really been experimenting too much. Although I did make a killer chili recently, and I really need to share that. But today, I'm actually going to teach you guys how to make a sugar-free, low-carb, aka keto barbecue sauce from scratch. Scratch, not using a ketchup base or anything like that. And it's super easy. The best part about this recipe is how easy it is, but B, you can change this up in so many different ways. So it's very easily adjustable to your preferences. And it's also adjustable to what you have on hand. I've probably said this a million times in my videos, but I like to use what I have on hand. I'm not a huge fan of having to go to the grocery store and buying exotic ingredients I might not have. I'll do it every once in a while. I don't mind it. I like trying new things, but for the most part, I like to shop my own pantry. So I am going to be providing in the description below different options and different substitutes for things that I'm using. Again, it's so easy to substitute some things in here. But we're going to start out with a base of tomato sauce. And I guess I'll just go over ingredients with you right now. So you want to use sugar-free tomato sauce. And Yo Mama's makes a really good sugar-free pasta sauce. But in this case, I like to just use sugar-free tomatoes. I'm using whole peeled because it's what I had in my pantry. You can use crushed, but I'm using these. These are really, really good. They're organic Italian whole peeled tomatoes. And I blend these in my food processor. You can also just get them already crushed or blended up. But again, that's what I had on hand. We are going to be use a vinegar of your choice. I'm going to be using apple cider vinegar. It has a mellower taste, a little more complexity. It's very good for you. But if you have white vinegar, go for it. And then we're going to be using Worcestershire sauce. So the substitute for Worcestershire, if you don't have it, is coconut aminos, which are actually a vegan substitute for Worcestershire. If you don't know, Worcestershire has fish, I believe, in there. You could also use soy sauce, tamari, and then moving on to the next ingredient, we are going to be using liquid smoke. I love liquid smoke. Pantry staple for sure. It never goes bad. I mean, it does eventually, but it takes a long time for it to go bad. So we're going to be using liquid smoke. If you don't have that, the substitute would be smoked paprika, or you could change it up for another, actually a different ingredient that I'm adding that's optional, and that is smoked chipotle powder. You could use chili powder. These all have smoky kind of essences to them, so you can interchange it with those too. We're going to be using salt. Everyone should have some salt. We are going to be using a sugar substitute. Not necessary. Optional. I like a sweet barbecue, but you don't have to use it. You can try it without it. It'll probably taste very good without it. There are barbecue sauces that don't use any sugar at all. And so I am using Lakanto, the brown sugar replacement. You can use any type of monk fruit sugar, stevia, truvia, whatever you have on hand. Just interchange it for the same amount that I'm going to put in the description. We are also using, what else? Onion powder, garlic powder. You can use actual garlic if you want. That's fine too. You just want to have that garlicky element in there. And I believe that's it. Even if it's not it, I'm putting the ingredients below. So just bear with me. So once you get all your ingredients ready, it is literally as simple as putting it on the stove, heating it up until it smells fragrant and it's heated through, and then we're going to cool it off, and then we're going to put it in a storage container, and then I will show you what I'm going to be making with it. So let's start cooking on the stove right now. All right, so we're going to begin. That is my dog in the background. She will be joining us. So I'm going to put this on roughly medium if you have numbers on your stove. I don't have any numbers on this stove, but put it at like 4. And then we're just going to add everything. So I am going to add 16 ounces worth of sugar-free tomato sauce. Again, remember this was just whole peeled tomatoes that I blended in the food processor. And all it is tomatoes, salt, and I believe tomato juice. And that's it. So it's I really, really love this. So if you can't find sugar-free tomato like pasta sauce, this will work perfectly fine. Next, we are going to add our apple cider vinegar. I always have this on hand. This is another thing like liquid smoke where it takes forever to go bad. Now we are going to add our Worcestershire sauce, or as my grandfather used to call it, what's this here sauce, which used to make me crack up as a kid. Now we are adding our 4 teaspoons of liquid smoke. And gosh, this stove, you guys, I think I told you about this in the last video. It is so strong. It is just so powerful. It's crazy. I think it's on medium, but it feels like it's high. Okay, so we're going to stir that up. You guys, it smells so good already, and I haven't even finished adding the rest of the ingredients. Okay. This is the onion powder, the garlic powder, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of chipotle powder. Do not worry if you don't have that chipotle powder. It is not a big deal. You could use smoked paprika. You could use regular paprika. You could just leave it out. It's really, really not a big deal. Just adds another kind of complexity. It adds a little bit of heat because remember, chipotle powder is smoked jalapenos. So it does have a little bit of heat to it. So you could use your favorite hot sauce, a little jalapeno. It's not going to be that spicy, so don't worry about that part. Okay, I am using 1 teaspoon of salt and then 1 teaspoon of that brown sugar alternative. And I see kind of a chunk of tomato in here. I'm going to take that out. It's a little atypical for barbecue sauce to have that in there. I'm going to add a little tiny bit more just to replace that one little chunk of tomato. It smells so good. So it's actually, it's pretty thick without having to reduce this. So you really don't have to worry about reducing this. Look at how beautiful it is. It's such a pretty color. And it smells exactly like barbecue sauce. It really does. So we're going to let that simmer for roughly 5 minutes. I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished, and then I will show you what we're going to do with it. Be right back. Okay, I am back and the barbecue sauce has cooled down, and what I'll end up doing is putting any leftover I have, I'll put it in this empty ketchup squirt bottle. This was sugar-free ketchup, and so just today I ran out and I figured why not save it for the barbecue sauce. And I always write a date indicating when I actually made it. It should stay, it's got a lot of vinegar in it, so it should stay in the refrigerator for quite a while. I don't know exactly how long it's going to last. I'm very much of the type of person that smells and tastes things to see if it's bad. I haven't died yet. So anyway, what we're going to make with that barbecue sauce, and I'm kind of bending down because I'm over at my my chopping block here, is baby back ribs. So I got a really good deal on these at Fresh Time, and I forget how much they were per pound, but it was a good deal. So making ribs is so easy in the oven. I always recommend you do it that way versus like on the grill. The first thing you have to do is remove the membrane. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then I'm going to tell you guys exactly how I make my ribs so that they're tender and they fall off the bone and they're going to be absolutely delicious with our keto barbecue sauce. So you're going to want to make sure that you have either a baking sheet or oven safe dish nearby, because after we remove this membrane, all we're going to do is salt and pepper it, and then it's going to go right into the baking dish. So it's really simple. You're going to flip it over. Basically, you're going to be able to tell it because it's slick looking, and you can feel the bones on the back. So that's the side you want to have facing up. And to remove the membrane, I literally just cut right down the center here. And if you guys do it another way, feel free to tell me in the comments, but this is the easiest way in my opinion. So you cut down the center, and then see this here? That's the membrane. So the reason we're removing this is because it makes the ribs easier to eat. They won't be as chewy. They'll be more tender. So we want to get that off because that's going to make the ribs a little tougher. Now you can leave it on. I've never left the membrane on, so I don't exactly know how it'll be. I'm sure it'll be just as good, if not just a little less tender. So just like that, it's super easy. Now what we're going to do is pat this dry. I always pat all my meat dry. Even though we're not searing it, I still do that to prevent it from becoming too watery. So we're going to get a paper towel and then pat that dry, salt and pepper it, and put it in the oven. Now, currently I have the oven set at 275. So we're going to bake this for around 3 to 4 hours, just depending on your the strength of your oven. If it's insane like mine, you might only need it in there for 2.5 hours, but it's not likely. And the reason why we're putting it in there for so long is because we have the oven temperature really slow, and that's the secret to tender ribs. So we're going to salt and pepper this, both sides. You guys, if you have any favorite seasonings, now's the time to put them on. You can put garlic salt. I love smoked paprika. Anything that you like, really. I mean, if you have a rub that you like, then I'm jealous. I would like a rub for my barbecue. I don't know why I don't have one. I'm a salt and pepper kind of girl. I'm very straightforward. Plus that barbecue sauce that we just made is super flavorful. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to put the membrane side down. It doesn't really matter. Just squish it in there. This is a big rack, so it's going to be a little bent. So we're tinting it with foil before putting it in there. So we're going to tint it. We're going to put it in there, and I will see you guys in 3.5 hours. So we now have roughly about 15 minutes left on the clock. So this is where the barbecue sauce comes in. Got it all bottled up here. And I'm going to take the ribs out. We are going to take the foil off. And then I am going to, oops, we've got a little leak here. Here we go. I'm going to, oh my. Okay, take 2. I'm going to pour this. The squirt bottle did not work out how I wanted. I guess it's a little too thick. So we're just going to pour this on here. Rub it down a little bit. And then all we're going to do is we are going to put it back in the oven, but then we're going to broil it. That way it gets nice and caramelized and delicious. And then when I'm done broiling, I like adding a little bit more because I don't like it too dry. Okay, so in they go, and they will be ready in 15 minutes. There you have it, guys. We are all done. How delicious do these look? So one thing I was going to touch on before I concluded this video was the flavor of the barbecue. There are so many different barbecue sauces, so I figured it'd be helpful to actually describe the flavor. This is definitely on the more vinegary side. As a matter of fact, when I first made it, it reminded me a little bit, just a little bit of Arby's sauce. So it's got kind of that, you know, it's not that rich, sweet, syrupy barbecue sauce. However, start with the amount of sugar that I have in the ingredients list below, and then just increase it. And I would leave the vinegar as is because that's good, but if you want it to be sweeter and thicker even, then just increase the sugar. So that's it, bottoms up. Very good. See you next time, guys.